PC chat real quick. Yeah, it says this.
Let me see. I also have it up. New game plus timer begins when selecting players name. Timer ends after defeating Carlos, Patricius, or Curtis. Any percent complete a new game quickly follow new game plus to beat Carlos's in stage 1819. Use previously cleared save file. Yeah, that's very confusing since you don't select your name.
Yeah. I think everyone do like 90% once.
I mean, it won't matter. They're not going to proof check if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would assume it would start as soon as you start the first like section of story where like some dialogue is going to play. It's probably like right before then.
Right.
I don't think they can proof check because I don't think they're around anymore.
No, there's nobody going to proof check it. I'm just saying for like the sake of this, I would just at the time, you can start the timer earlier rather than later. Whenever you would think a good spot is, will be viable because when you become mod, that's the spot.
Right. I would probably just do whenever I select the stage initially.
Yeah.
So, do I have to just complete one from each set of these, or how's that work?
You'll hit an ending. So, yeah, you only have to... So, yeah, it'll go down a route, and a lot of the times the dialogue will have, like, a choice. They'll be like, we should attack them from behind, or we should retreat, or whatever, and that just pivots the storyline, but you don't actually have to do all the missions in a single section. You just have to go in a straight line to the end.
I thought, like, for 80% it makes you...
Sure.
Depends which one you collect. If you do, like, 6, you might get Starfall. If you do 7, you might get, I don't know, Lancelot.
Yeah, that's normally who you unlock and what type of mission you're playing. So there is probably a fast
they just
path.
give it to you. For like some of them, they're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. We just give them to you.
Yeah, but you're on New Game Plus, doesn't matter. So you just run through whatever you like, whatever path you want, and it's probably fast.
Okay, so I'm gonna start timer here, and I'm doing this just to be able to choose my character. Why did that not start the timer? That didn't start the timer. That's annoying.
Oh shit.
Okay.
I just want to make the fucking.
I can just X out of it real quick, but I don't know why my timer didn't start.
Yeah, but just have your light will just crash.
I think
that's what mine's doing right now. It's just frozen. Does that sometimes.
Yeah, hopefully when you do the RAM thing, it'll fix it.
I don't know that that's why it's having that problem, but hopefully yes.
Yeah, but let's imagine.
Yeah, we can dream.
Yeah.
Everyone has their fantasy.
Yeah, what I would say is yeah, select, I don't know, a broken good character.
Such as Carl.
Carl is pretty brain dead.
How do I choose from here though? I don't see a.
You can go into like, I think you can go into like basically like free mode or wherever, and then you can like change the character and then go back out and then
it'll start your game. Them like extra battle.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty sure those will keep their memory. If not, then I'm wrong. But yeah, Carl Magnus or whatever is probably the most brain dead.
He's just a Ganondorf.
Yeah,
he just has big giant hitboxes with super high
guy?
Yeah.
All gaudy and gold with white hair. Yeah.
What's up,
okay, well that's who I already have selected. So.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should be pretty brain dead.
I used to play like so much Smash. Now I don't play anymore.
There's another character that's like another broken brain dead one, but I don't remember who they are. Astolfo. Exactly. No.
Let me actually. Is it Gilgamesh?
No, he's been nerfed a lot in that game.
I hate fighting against him because he's just camping. He's an archer, but he just shoots swords and like.
Yeah, I think.
I love him in like Zero. I think it's Fate Zero.
Yeah.
I love that he's an archer, but never used a fucking bow. Like
why would you use a bow? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, just use like the treasury portals, or whatever the fuck it is.
Yep.
The only game I'm aware of where bows are good is like Dynasty Warrior 6, and that's not a generally very.
Yeah, bows tend to suck in warrior games. There's a character in that game that's like pretty good with them. Forget his name. He's the Indian hero?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I've never seen Fate or like engaged with any Fate media.
Yeah, but he's pretty good in that game. What the Francis Drake is really good in that game. She's a booby waifu.
Oh, yeah, oh, that bitch.
Yeah, she's like a
Lancelot
pirate.
good?
Lancelot's pretty good, but he's kind of like weird, deceptively slow. Which is odd.
It's
But
just
he's
kinda
a
like
good
I
character.
remember the show more than me actually playing the game.
His special ability in the game is that he can shapeshift into one of his allies in the battlefield.
I
He can like
remember
switch
the
his
did that in
moveset.
the show. I believe.
I don't
In
remember
this
which
show,
button this is.
he's able to, but he doesn't do it a lot.
There we go.
I think Carl's top tier, and then if Venus is in the game, Venus is second to top tier, and then young Extella is probably third, and then yeah, it's probably something like that order.
What about
Um,
Lubu? Is he good?
he's fine. He has the same problems like be slow, not good. Like being
Yeah.
slow is not a good thing. If you want like somebody who's just like a jugger, like just a big juggernaut, Darius the third is better. And then if you want somebody who's just like gonna lay in giant blasts, you play Karna probably.
I
Just fires
can't
giant
wait for the
lasers.
fact that I literally can't even attempt to submit this for what I just submitted under PS4 because there's no.
Yeah, you just submit it under PS4 and then you
Yeah.
just get the run verified.
Because
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, because they don't have the correct. I mean, I guess I'll play on easy. It's faster. Was I on very hard before?
I don't know. Wait.
If
is
it's
it
my
XR?
save, then it was probably on very hard if I was playing it before. Yeah.
Amazing.
There's not even a thing for that.
Yeah, there's not even a thing
There's no
like,
difficulty settings.
for the run. Yeah.
It's weird. There's also like no
How do we-
level ones, which I think is possible
Yeah.
for this game.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird.
I mean,
The board is fucked.
I've only done level ones for Age of Calamity.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
But
in
yeah,
the wrong spot.
you should just be able to stomp with Carl or whatever. So as long as you can just
Yeah.
start the game, clear every stage, and then submit, you're free.
And just
He has
wait
really
for a
broken
month.
skills. There's you have code casts on your D-pad or whatever. One of them gives you attack up. I pop those relatively often, just because why wouldn't I want 50% more attack?
Is that the red one or the yellow top one?
It's a great question. Probably red. I think there's
Sure.
range up and there's attack up, and usually you just pop them both, and then you do it every like minute.
I thought the top one is like I don't know, attack speed up or whatever the fuck.
Oh, it might be attack speed, but yeah, they're broken. You just pop like all the buff ones at the same time, and then you just kind of do that every like minute.
Oh,
'Cause they
they
just-
recharge?
No, they don't recharge, but they're only for the battle. So
Oh, yeah, they just come back. They're not like a limited use.
They're
Not
like
at all.
low level.
Yeah.
you can also spend command seals. I forget what the button is, like select or something, to teleport to any like cell on the map that you have conquered.
Is the
And
dash?
that's also fast.
The dash is
Oh,
just
yeah.
infinitely repeatable, isn't it?
Yes, and spamming it is faster than like holding it for some reason.
Wait, is it the same in the air? Because in the air you kind of lose height or something, which makes you go slower.
Yeah, the air ones are weird.
Yeah,
I think the
because
air one might be
remember
slightly
doing that a
faster
lot.
though, but it's like harder to control and it's weird.
I think I started doing that because I played Star, and it's like, yeah, just do it in the air. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, you just spam dash around, do your skills to wipe the entire screen, and then just like keep going until you win.
It's just like an automatic thing because war games, like, yeah, just keep. You either just, I don't know, hold forward or you do dodge.
Oh wait, I can't get to the boss room yet.
Yeah. Usually that's the annoying thing in that game. A lot of the time it'll be like you're blocked off and you're like, what am I supposed to do? And it'll be like an invisible enemy in one of the areas, or you'll have to take all the areas.
Yeah, that's why when I did my one, it's like, oh, I suck because it's like I'm doing all these things, but it's just I don't need to do this. Why am I getting like every sector?
Yeah. So that's tricky.
I mean, that's just because I just go on autopilot when I'm playing warrior games. It's just kill.
kill, kill, kill.
One thing that is kind of nice about so my controller doesn't have an actual trigger for R2, it's just a button, which means I'm not wearing it out by mashing it as much as I would be if it had like a spring or something.
It's not
100%.
that controls, it's controller preservation.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you just spam it. A lot of those games are all about like mashing the like some sort of button, but yeah, as long as you just use your skills, you do whatever good combo does big AoE, and then you just do that to everybody, then you should be fine. Unfortunately, you want to avoid rushing. Rushing is a mechanic where like you basically just mash against the CPU for X amount of time.
I've had that happen like fucking almost anything I fight.
Yeah, it happens all the time. As long as you clank a move against an opponent's move, it'll just be like clash, and then you'll both be just like trolling around in the air. It's not like horrible for damage, but it sucks for time loss if you were playing in a speedrun.
It's like 5 to 6 seconds, I believe.
It's pretty long, yeah, and it's just not very interesting because most of the time you can do way more damage if you were just allowed to hit them with spells instead or skills.
I don't know what the other one was where you just press it once and you just win.
Oh, that didn't one-shot. Wow.
It was.
Yeah.
There we go.
What's like a game you speedrun that you just never want to play again?
I don't know.
For me, I think it was Sonic Forces.
Oh, there you go.
Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. I will never stop complaining about that game.
Let me actually look at my list what I've done.
Pirate Warriors 3 for me.
Let me go down. I mean, Hyrule War is not that bad though.
Pirate Warriors 3 is Nightmare Fuel.
I've done Injustice Strikers, but I just used to play it when I was young. I've done Punch Out.
It's weird how long the enemy icons stay up after you kill them.
Yeah, it is weird. I wanted to modify the game a lot because like it would make it a cooler game. But yeah, then it becomes a different game. So
modded percent.
I have modded percent for like PW3 and 4, but and they're the most popular categories, so it's like interesting. But for that type of game, it's weirder because it's like, I mean, people haven't even been able to submit their PC times to begin with, but I think like that game is one of the ones that would benefit somewhat the most from modifications. Some stuff in Extella is just really weird. And that's my biggest problem with it.
I don't like the locking on targets bullshit that's in this game.
Yeah, the lock-on's not good in that game, though.
You have to look at them to lock onto them. It's just kind of like, why?
I'm not like that confused about that. Like, I don't disagree with you, but like, yeah. Huh?
The locking could just be better.
Yeah, it just make more sense. Yeah.
I assume they just want me to go up and kill the boss. Oh, the green things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's sub-conditions. That's not as important sometimes. Sometimes they're required, but not always.
This run is going to be about as good as it can be for this being literally my first time playing, or not quite my first time playing the game, but essentially.
Yeah.
Well, it is if you forget everything.
Yeah. I don't think this is going to be like 20 minutes. Like I don't know the order of shit.
Yeah, that's true. That could hurt you. Yeah. Movement is tricky because it's part of the problem.
You just gotta push it once and then you win. I think it's just kind of automatic.
Also, teleporting is pretty optimal in some of the stages, so that would be tricky.
I didn't even know that was a mechanic.
You get 3 command seals in a stage, and if you die, you can spend 3 to revive instantly with full health. But better use of it in most cases is just to like hit select or whatever to bring it up, hit teleport, and then pick a cell you want to warp to.
Does it also give you like a full bar meter?
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, usually I get to use.
Usually I just teleport around. Yeah, the way the game kind of works is killing things with cooldown skills will tend to build this bar up. I don't know what to call it. I'm just gonna call it rage. and then you pop Rage,
Yeah.
and then kills in Rage will build a Noble Phantasm bar. And then if you max out the Noble Phantasm bar, you can pop it and wipe the entire screen. And it's a skippable cutscene, so you can
Right.
literally just be like, you can walk into a new area, pop it, press start, skip it, and then everybody's dead. And then you're like, cool. And so that would be theoretically optimal, I guess, if you can, like, I don't know, have a good soft engine with building meter. But most of the time, the best way would be to just grab power-ups from those little, like, crystals. Because a lot of those will just have, like, here's a full Noble Phantasm bar. And you're like, so I just win. I just
honest,
walk everywhere and blow
I
it. Yep.
didn't know the Noble Phantasm after I beat the game and I googled it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I just like to play games wrong unintentionally.
There you go. Yeah, I think,
mean,
yeah, go.
I beat like Xenoblade's way overpowered because I didn't know you could use gems.
Oh, damn.
It's like attributes and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, I have like attack up, movement speed and stuff. Yeah, I didn't use any of this. Like way overpowered. I was like probably level 80 when I beat the final boss. Like
There you go.
20 levels higher than you actually need to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in this game, as long as you, like, keep your boost, like, up or whatever it's called, the blue version of yourself, and then just, like, spam shit. Because I think boost makes your cooldowns lower. So when you activate it, you just, like, for a while, you can spam a lot.
Would still be funny if they just.
Oh, I guess that puts me on this route.
Yeah, it does. What if you just have the William Shakespeare one in this game, just as a servant? Because I don't think he does shit.
For who?
William Shakespeare.
Hmm. Yeah, that'd be very
I
weird.
don't know which show that was. Apocrypha, I think.
Yeah, it's Apocrypha.
I don't even know what he does. He just exists.
He's a spy, so, like, his logical use is nobody
To
can
fuck
kill
with
him.
people's heads.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just like to call it illusion magic. Because it's
Did that not
essentially
work?
what it is.
I'm getting comboed by something I can't see.
It happens. Wait, this... and that just got synced. Okay.
I killed the whole room at once, so that was neat. Wait, what?
Yeah, of
How do
course.
I get? How do I get that way? Whatever, we'll go a different way.
What's happening with your camera, man?
No. I guess I won't go that way.
There's something wrong with cameraman Carl.
I will admit, my biggest pet peeve with that game was how unclear everything is in story.
Oh,
Like,
like for on objectives and stuff?
Story and objective.
Well, wait a minute. Did I not kill the... I killed the guy, right? Yeah, I did. Okay.
I've had the same thought when I first played this game. It's like, where do I go? What am I doing?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of Boris game style in the beginning if you don't understand. You just kind of wanting them out, like, okay, I guess it will just, I don't know, capture every sector I see.
Yeah.
And then maybe the plot will just, I don't know, move forward.
I usually, like, I skip the cutscenes in, like, 90% of the games that I play, so story not making sense is, unless it's, like,
Well-
literally the point of the game. It's never really an issue for me.
Well, it depends if it, I don't know, interests me.
Well, sure.
Because I watched every single cutscene of Xenoblade 3. Which doesn't sound like a lot until you look it up and it's like, oh, it's 12 hours of cutscenes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot.
And then I didn't watch a single one in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Same. I actually I had completely checked out of the story after Birth by Sleep.
I kind of 12'd it. I think I was literally just at like somewhere at the last stage. It doesn't look like the the cutscene is like, oh, it's important. It's like, oh, cool. Frozen, my least favorite Disney movie ever.
Ah, yes, Larxene with ice powers. That's something she could do before.
It's just kind of like, I just assume all it's doing is telling me the story of the movie it represents.
It is, yes. That is all that happens. Is they
So
just have the
like,
movie again.
It's like, yeah, I probably watch this movie, or I don't want to. Like, yeah, I watched Toy Story. I don't need to know.
What was tragic is all the Pixar stuff was fire because it was all custom.
Yeah.
And then you get all the Disney stuff and it's all locked in. Like, it used to be custom in earlier Kingdom Hearts. But Disney got too big, and by the time they got to 3, everything had to be like exactly the same. They weren't allowed to budget at all. And so they were like, what if Elsa attacked Sora? But it's an ice castle and all this stuff happens. It's like, nope, that cannot happen. She cannot be a villain. And it's like, oh. And Larxene will attack him, and Sora will randomly be in an ice castle.
Yeah, they're literally just going to movies, right? It's just Sora on his Disney Plus account.
Oh, no, that just outright killed him. Yeah, I like to joke that Larxene is my favorite ice magic user.
Yeah, because she's Elsa's proxy.
Yeah.
I legit feel like Nomura finished that entire section of the game. And then Disney told them, like, nope. And he was probably, like, devastated. Like, what do you mean no?
Literally just mauling and bawling.
My opinion on Nomura as a writer is generally that he's fine when he's working on a one-off thing, but he does not do long form all that well. Yeah. He just lets too much stuff branch out and never resolves it, and like he leaves stuff open all the time just so he can look cool and clever later by explaining it in a way that he definitely hadn't thought of before, but that actually like retcons stuff. Like, oh, but it was actually this, even though there was no reason that anyone would have ever reasonably thought that.
Yep.
And so you're just thinking, like, should I go to this portal? Am I supposed to go here? And then just opened. I've had that happen so many times. It's just because I want a game that I haven't played in like 3 months. So you just forget fucking everything.
I will say that I like that there's less pointless running in this than, say, like regular Dynasty Warriors, which is what I mostly grew up playing as far as Warriors games, was like 6 and 7.
Dynasty Warriors all the way up until 2005 did not understand the concept of like people don't like running, they like beating things up.
Which one is that? I don't know which one's which. Like release. So which one released in 2005? I don't know the years.
Sorry, I meant 2000. Every game prior to 2016.
Oh yeah.
They were just like, well, you need to go from A to B. But as the consoles got better, the maps got bigger, but they didn't speed you up enough. So then it was like, okay, well now these maps are really big, and I just am running for 80%.
Yep.
And it's like,
I mean, if you want to play a walk simulator, just play Death Stranding. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the problem, is like, I have that problem even in the third Pirate Warriors 3, which was released in 2015. It's one of the last games of that problem. And I timed a stage just to see how much of the time I was moving and not attacking, and how much of it I was attacking. I believe I was attacking for 40 seconds and moving for 8 minutes.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, this is a problem. And so I created a mod called Speedrunner Mod, where all the movement speeds in the game were increased by 50%. And it not only does it not look weird, it looks more correct. Like, the animations look like they were slowed or something, and then I corrected them. And I wasn't even trying to do that.
it looks stupid, but it's like it makes the game infinitely better. I was just like, huh, okay, like it's really nice. So yeah, I don't know. It's tragic.
Well, if you're winning the game, the only thing you're fighting is what you have to, basically. And
Yeah,
you-
you're just
you-
objective racing. Yeah,
True.
it's like
You
go
see-
to
you're
top
not-
left, take out this base. Go to bottom right, take out this base. Go to top right, take out this base. Go to bottom left, take out this base. Go to the middle, kill the boss.
Because you're not gonna bother with like completing like entire sectors if you don't need to.
Yeah. As a casual, you might just like murder spree through stages and beat stages in like 22 minutes. But then as a kid, you'll also just fail missions arbitrarily because you're like, wait, why'd I fail? And it's like, oh, the person you're supposed to protect, they died like 8 minutes ago. You were just trolling around, like attacking
Oh.
thousands of bases.
I've had that happen in like Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity.
Oh, I can just leave. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You ever play that one?
It's a great game. I think
I love it.
that's a good example of like a game that fixed things. Like, it's only held back by the Switch itself. But like the maps are proper
yeah.
size. Your character moves relatively okay.
I mean, I played the original Hyrule Warriors, and it's you're just waiting for like text to appear. You're just waiting for them to finish talking. You can hit
Yeah.
switch. I don't think Age of Calamity has that as much.
No, it doesn't, because when those games hit around 2020 with Pirate Warriors 4 and onward, they fixed that problem massively. As much as I clown Pirate Warriors 4 for like wasting your time, which it does do, even the biggest time wasters in that game are only a time loss about 1.5 minutes, which is much better than previous games. I don't like it to exist at all, but I think that it's like, okay, that's a lot better, because even games like AOT 2 still have that in spades. The run is like 3 hours 50 minutes, and with my fast dialogue mod, it's 1 hour 40 minutes. So, like, case in point, it's too much. But in old like Warriors games, it's straight up like the run is 4 hours, and then like the fast dialogue mod is like 1 hour or 50 minutes. It's like egregious how much that game. And the problem is, as a person playing the game, you can't fully tell what the difference would be, because when you're playing, you're just kind of killing things while you're waiting, sort of.
Yeah.
Or the game is arbitrarily making you run across the map, which gives it time to catch up dialogue wise. And that was how the devs went around their own problem. But when you're speedrunning the game, you realize very quickly that you're just sitting there waiting in front of a door for like 45 seconds at a time, and you're like, this is horrible.
I mean, I had like an idea for Age of Calamity. No one responded to it, but I still want it to be a thing. Because you could just get like a tree branch. It's like 4 attack and nothing else, and you can only use that. Just like the shittiest weapon ever. You just do like 80% with a shitty weapon. I would love if that's actually gonna be a thing. Because
Yeah, you could probably make that work. There are
I think
a
on
couple.
my normal one, I just have like a 4 attack tree branch. Might be 3 attack.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, Clash is my favorite. What I'm actually mostly interested in this game is ILs, because that's usually what I like to do in these games. Like that's why I like the mission mode in Bleach, because it's just all the ILs, and like I guess technically you could do that with story mode too, but I don't really care as much for story mode because of all the waiting, because there's a lot of waiting in that too.
Yeah.
And that being console, there's not really a good way to approach that.
Without emulation, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I fixed it in emulation, but I can't. That's not.
Oh,
very
really?
cool.
Neat.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that would have to be a thing for discussion if we were going to do that on emulation, because I'm not the only mod. I can't just say. I mean, I would be fine with it, but I would also be fine with it not being that if the others disagree.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's still faster because at least I don't have to wait for loads, right?
Oh yeah,
That's
emulator
the
already
main
just
issue.
doesn't have loads.
Yeah, they're like 3 seconds or something.
Yeah, they're really, really low compared to 15 seconds. Yeah, it's crazy. Emulation is really fun to play in that game anyway, because it lowers lag and it makes the loads really fast.
Yeah, I think it's arguably the better way to play it, which makes it kind of weird why I have all my times are on, or all my full game times are on PS3. Why am I doing that to myself?
I think you're just waiting.
I mean, my world record in mission mode is literally 50% loads. The more I push the time down, the larger the percentage is just loads, and it's already like half, so...
I put the world record because no one wants to do it.
Yeah.
For like allocation, like the 12.5 hour one where my fucking timer crashed after like 11 hours.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm a big what's the word?
Gamer?
I'm like a game designer at heart. So when I play a game and I'm like, especially for speed gamers, and I'm like, oh, too much of this game is literally waiting.
You're just analyzing.
It like bugs me, but then because I have the ability to fix it, I can't not do it.
Right.
So it's like you play the game and then I just fix it, and then people are like, oh, did you like, an example was Tales of Arise, and I was like, do you like Tales of Arise? I'm like, I thought it was fantastic. They're like, how did you get past this thingamajig? That's really annoying. I'm like, oh, well, I had my game 15% faster. And then they're like, well, then you didn't play Tales of Arise. Like, well, I did, but I just modified something because it's easy. Like, you do it, and then the whole game is a lot better. It's like, yeah, but we didn't play the same game. Like, kinda. I mean, literally played through the exact same game. I just had slightly faster speed. But that's how people think. The way fairness works and competition works is you are playing the same thing.
Although I guess I don't know why competition is a relevant concept if you're not speedrunning it. But
that's what I said. I was like, well, we're not competing to see who beat it fastest.
And our experience was still largely the same. Like, it's not like I played different maps and fought different bosses or something.
Yeah, I played all the same things. My approach to most of the fights had to be the same.
Because they work the same way. Yeah. Like, it's not like I was sped up and they weren't. We have the same ability, like, me and my enemies have the same abilities relative to each other.
Yeah, they're sped up.
They have a gun.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just Extella too, though.
Yeah.
I didn't mod a Starfall to just give him, like, I don't know, 7 guns on him.
Yeah, exactly. But I do that to games, but because I do that to games, it modifies my perspective of, like, why not? Because it's like, in a speedrun, I'm like, I look at a run that's like 50% waiting and 50% gameplay, and I'm like, oh, let me patch that so that it's more competitive. And then I do. That's just where my brain goes immediately. I usually just hit up the communities. Hey, can you add a miss category for this, or a variable? A lot of time, they could be like, nah. But most of the time when they see it, they kind of just agree. Because it's a hard thing when you see it to just say no to it, because it doesn't affect the gameplay.
I mean,
a lot of the time.
It affects, like, the main leaderboard, so. Like,
and the main leaderboards. But sometimes I've also had the opposite happen, where people are like, oh, we should make that the main category. I'm like, that's little further. I have that for Pirate Warriors 4 because I'm the sole super mod, basically. But the reason I do that is because 90% of the runs on that board are with the mod.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be like, well, I guess it's not main. Like, I didn't initially do that. Initially, it was on standard, was all default because it's a vanilla game. But there's no runs for that game on console at all. So everybody ran on PC and everybody plays with the mod. I have a couple people who have submitted standard runs, and that's totally fine. It's like, yeah, good. You have a fantastic standard time. And that's totally fine. My problem with standard was that I can get standard tasks on a couple stages, and I was like, that's dumb. Like, how am I supposed to improve an IL when yeah, people can just match tasks with like an hour of effort, and it's like, that's not good.
I agree. That's insane.
Yeah, it's because the way the warrior games work trends towards it being bad. So like, you start the game. I use Pirate Warriors 3's first stage as an example because it's easy. But it's like, you start the game and Luffy starts talking about how he has to find a crew member in the first stage. You have till he finishes talking about that to kill the first gate commander. And then when he finishes talking about that, it says gate commander has died and opens the gate. He talks for like 20 seconds. So in a speedrun context, you can kill the guard in 8 seconds or 6. So even if you were God gamer and killed him in 5, or bad gamer and killed him in 18, you are on the same pace.
Yeah, it's just the same as like how well you're just waiting for them to stop talking.
Yeah, but because the way it works, some things you do have to do fast, and sometimes you don't. So, for example, once you do open the gate, running to where a Marine spawns and killing him on spawn has to be immaculately fast. But that's the hardest and only hard trick in the entire, like, first stage. Once that's done, you're literally sitting on like a 40-second timer waiting for a single guard to fall out of the sky. And it's like, okay, well, I'm just waiting. And then you kill him, and then you're waiting on a 10-second timer. And then you break a box and open, like, grab a sword, and you're waiting on a 30-second timer. It's like, you literally run to Zoro, and the game's timer stops ticking, but then waits a minute to actually trigger the cutscene because you have done it way faster than they thought you would. And then there's like, oh, whoops. And then it just does that, and it's horrible. And it's like, that happens all over the place. Some games, it's sort of invisible. Like AOT 2, it took me making the mod for the moderators to realize there was even a problem. Because they played it and they're like, well, we're zipping around and we're cutting the things. It's not that bad. And I'm like, but it is. And then I made the mod and they're like, holy crap. Like, what? Why is the game 2 hours shorter? You know, like, it's one of those things you don't realize you're waiting on because you only experience the game the normal way.
Well, there's nothing else, so yeah. I mean, I think if the people that play the game will probably also like notice the difference itself, because they've just been playing it for like hours and hours.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't know anything else than just how that works. So they couldn't imagine how it could be different.
Yeah. A great example I give is... Yeah. A great example I give is Logtown Pirate Warriors 3. You walk forward in the stage and the game opens up 3 gateways with different guards that come out and you beat them one by one. But in Fast Dialogue mod, all 3 gates open and they all run out at the same time. And people are like, wait, why'd that happen? Don't you have to kill the guards for the next guards to come out? I'm like, no, it's just dialogue. Normally what happens is the first set of guards comes out, they start talking to Luffy. It takes like about 15-20 seconds, and then the next gate opens. But because people are just wiping them immediately, they don't really realize that that's waiting. Like, the game is waiting to generate the next guys based off the dialogue order. And in FDM, it just goes, oh, they're all open. And then you wipe them, and it goes, oh, Tashigi's coming out of the top right gate. And it's like, normally that's 1 minute of gameplay. Where it's like, oh, we summon this, we summon this, we summon this, they talk, they open the gate on the top right. And you're just chilling. But that's a time save that's weird because people didn't realize they were waiting. So they're like, wait.
Don't realize.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
5 to 8 seconds, like, I did not realize you're waiting for like 10 seconds.
Yeah. Because usually you just keep killing
High Warriors. Because, like, I just know that I'm just gonna have to wait after, like, every stage.
Yeah, it sucks. Because me and Art are similar in that I'm a big IL gamer. I love ILs. And if my IL is like, you know, Pirate Warriors 4 Crocodile is a great example. 1.5 Crocodile takes 1 minute 58 seconds IL on standard. And on Fast Dialogue mod, the record is 20.
Right?
Huh?
Level 1's what? IL.
My brain's broken. It's a New Game Plus.
Oh, okay.
So in the New Game... Oh, yeah. In the New Game Plus, it's 1 minute 58 seconds to kill Croc in standard. In Fast Dialogue mod, it's 22 seconds. Because there's a section of that fight where for 1.5 minutes, Croc talks, and during that, he cannot lose more than half his life, so he's just invincible. So the game just basically, like, hilariously trolls you, and you're just sitting there waiting. And it's like, that's very bad, but, like, you just accept it, kind of, when you're playing the game, because you're just like, well, that's just how it is. And when you're playing a new game, you notice it, but barely. In New Game, if you're great at New Game, like, I mean, I have the record in New Game, But if you're just playing new game, you'll crush Croc well before
You
1.5
shut up.
minutes have passed. So even though it's not 22 seconds like a new game plus run, it's still at worst 1/3 that speed. So Pirate Wars 4 had a very complicated but really cool idea where they actually give the stages stage levels, and they cap your attack speed relative to the stage level. So, or your attack power, sorry. So this makes it so that on New Game Plus you don't just stomp everything into dust. So the cap attack you can have is 3 times the enemy's defense. That's the hard cap. If it wasn't capped, you'd have 6.7 times the enemy's defense, which would just annihilate them. And that's how it worked in Pirate Warriors 3. You just like one-shot everything.
I mean, there's a certain fun to that.
No, I don't disagree, but I think it's plenty fun in New Game Plus being like 3x stronger. You know, you don't necessarily have to be like you look at me playing Whitebeard, you'll just see me dashing around, obliterating everything anyway. So I think they picked the right line, I guess. But the point is in Pirate Warriors 4, that means that you can only ever be up at most 3x faster than you would be on New Game. So it's easy to do the math. So the Croc fight, if it takes 22 seconds, with the FDM on, it only takes like 66 seconds, so a minute 6, to probably beat him on New Game. So that is still massively under 1 minute 58 seconds, which is the fastest you can kill him on New Game Plus. So, on New Game Plus standard. So you will hit that point playing the game. In fact, when I played casually on normal mode, I was able to hit that block first time I played blind. So it's definitely something everybody's noticed, but it just happens. It's bad. So that's my big aside to why dialogue mods or things of that nature shouldn't be as frowned upon, because they don't affect the primary gameplay mechanic the player is playing under. It just reduces like garbage. I mean, people are okay with like cutscene mods.
It just gets rid of waiting.
Yeah. Now, by getting rid of waiting, it usually modifies the strat a little bit or a lot, but I think that's totally fine. The game should have been that way.
But it's just a flaw that you're removing, basically.
Yeah. It's like Warriors game should be, you killed that guy, the game immediately opens the door. Why is the dialogue tied to the events? That should not be the case. They should be separated. And in some of the Warrior games, fun fact, they are separated. So it's even weirder why they...
Because it's inconsistent, yeah.
Yeah, it's inconsistent. I believe in some of the Warrior Orochi games, that's not a problem. Like, you can kill a guy and it opens the door. Which is odd, because those are built in the same engine as older Warrior games.
Go figure, huh?
Yeah.
I guess
and
they
then,
just buy something new.
Yeah, they were like...
And then they're like, no.
Warriors Orochi is an interesting franchise. It's usually made at the tail end of whatever engine they're working on. They'll make a new Orochi game, and they'll use all of their best tech of that engine, and then they just like go to the next engine right after Warriors Orochi. So Warriors Orochi 1 used a certain engine, Warriors Orochi 2 used a different engine, Warriors Orochi 3 used a different engine, and 4 used a different engine. So they just get to the peak of that engine, and that's usually what they are. So that's probably why they solve it by the time they get to the end of those, but it's stupid.
Like, they shouldn't have the problem to begin with, because clearly, like... Yeah.
Yeah, like, dialogue should not be... Like, I get it. There's some parts where I'm okay with it. So, like, for example, if you kill a guy and the guy's like, oh, I'm dying. And then he goes like, you know, somebody talks to me, he's like, I'll save you. And then he's like, what? And then, like, a dark mage comes out or something. That's like a storyline beat. I could get behind that. But
Something
never
else,
like...
Never
like I kill a gate guard. Yeah. It's like never a gate guard. I killed a random gate guard, and then I'm just waiting behind all of the story dialogue before it can go, by the way, you cleared that gate guard. Here's the door. It's like, that should never... It had no storyline beats at all. None of that should ever be a thing.
He's just a gatekeeper. He only lives to just make sure you can't go there. If he dies, it should just unlock.
Yeah. It should be very, very clear that while they're talking on the bottom of the screen, you can just murder this guy and the door just insta opens. There should never be like this weird like, because it screws people over, even as casuals. There are tons of times as a kid I killed a gatekeeper. I'm like, do I have to kill another gatekeeper? Did I not kill enough? Like, and then I just walk around, and then the door opens, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I've had that happen a lot in this game.
Yeah, it's like, it's just terrible for intuition. It's like, I don't even know if I did the right thing, because the game doesn't immediately give me the response. It's like, imagine you punch a guy in a fighting game, and like 4 seconds later, he gets hit. It's like, that's horrible. I'd be like, wait, did he dodge my attack? And then just later on, he's like, ugh.
So, like 10 seconds later, he says, "Ow."
Yeah, it's like, what? That's how it feels to a gamer when you, like, if you're playing Mario 64 and you had a key in your hand and you did the Mario animation where he walks up and he freaking jumps up and puts the key in the door, but then the door didn't open when you walked up against it for a while, and then like 5 seconds later it's like, and it opens.
I mean, yeah, you get into the star and then like for like 5 seconds nothing happens, and then it's like you got the star. Like what?
Yeah. So you just walk through the star and you're like, wait, did I not get it? And you walk and jump through the star like multiple times, and then the game's like, and you're like, wait, what? So that's a criminal game design flaw, but they just didn't fix it forever. And I was just like, damn it. Fire Emblem Warriors has it, or the New Hopes, Three Hopes.
I love the one.
That game has it pretty badly, but at least that game's very story heavy, so it doesn't feel as gross. But it's pretty bad.
I think the story elements were a bit big though.
Should be like, let's kill these 3 guys, and you're like, I send all of you to kill all of those guys for me. And you're like, sick. And you just run over and kill a 4th guy, and then the 3 guys are taken out, and you're like, cool. And then they're like, oh no, a boss. And then like about 8 seconds later, the boss spawns, and you crack him in like 2 hits. And then it's like, oh, he's dead. And then you wait like 4 or 5 seconds, then it opens the door. And you're like, okay.
I love how every single like Wario Nintendo game is it's never gonna be canon. That's the best part. Because
Yeah.
it's always timeline bullshit.
Yep.
I
Very
mean,
fun.
you hear like the Wario Warriors, because like why are Wind Waker characters here? And Age Calamity is just I don't know. I guess it just makes a different timeline. Same thing.
Oh, I have to go up the freaking stairs. Can I just jump up this? I could have. Okay, well, we learned something today.
Add to the list.
So something I think about a lot. So I think about game design stuff a lot too, but I'm only really knowledgeable about like combat design in games that have very in-depth combat. I don't think about like any of that other stuff really at all. I mean, I'm sure I get annoyed by it, but like that's not my strength basically.
Yeah, you're not gonna fix it. Because
Like I'm only really good like cuz like I know how like the specifics of boss AI work in like Kingdom Hearts 2. And that's like to me that's peak boss AI because it's a good blend of determinism and randomness and like reaction to player behavior.
Yeah.
But like something like a Warriors game works a little bit differently from that because it's not what's the word? So like the thing about like a boss fight in 2FM is that you get when you are pressing advantage, it's like a fighting game. When you have neutral and then you have like advantage states, right? Like a punish game kind of thing.
well, in this you're literally just slaying.
Right, yeah. Well, unless it's a boss, and there's still technically like neutral and punish, but it's looser. Like but the game isn't specifically designed around that component to the same extent. It's just a different experience. But like the 2FM type thing, like KH2FM is like my, I guess, core influence as like a combat enthusiast.
Yeah.
So just like those blends of boss mechanics and how those create one-on-one experiences that imitate like actual real life combat in like a mental sense. As much as can be done is more like my thing.
I wish like punch-out combat was like actual combat. Yeah, or like the opposite, where someone just winds up for 5 seconds to throw a punch, or just says, "Here it comes."
Yeah. Here it comes.
I'm still hoping for a new Punch-Out game because I fucking love them.
I think there's only a few Warriors games that have captured like true boss combat well. I think the problem, as you said, is the Warriors games very rarely will be like about boss combat. Like they're designed around taking bases more than anything else in a vast majority. And so when you play against the boss, you're like, wait a second, how does this make sense? It's only ever gotten close in Pirate Warriors 4 or Persona 5 Strikers, like these games that are like.
Oh, I have that one.
Huh?
I think I have Strikers before I actually got Persona 5, and the game just didn't make sense to me because like, who are these people?
Yeah.
I guess it will be like playing like the One Piece one without knowing what the fuck One Piece is.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I think the difference with 5 was that it's also a sequel to Persona 5, so it's very confusing. So you're like, oh, this is semi-storyline fake, but also supposed to be a sequel. So all the characters act as if they know each other very well. Whereas at least in like Pirate Warriors, you're following a little bit of this One Piece storyline, so it's a little easier to be like, oh, I'm kind of gaining knowledge of these characters as I play.
I think the only thing I remember of Strikers or whatever the fuck's like, I got betrayed. Wait, I think that's just a plot of Persona 5.
It is a plot at the end of Persona 5, yeah.
Well, yeah, because you go back to like the, I don't know, police room, whatever the fuck, talking to like the detective person.
Yeah.
I haven't beaten it yet, I still have to.
Yeah, I think, like, Persona, it does a good job. Persona 5 Strikers does a good job at bosses because it gives you more of a vibe that individual fights are threats and that they're singular. Hyrule Warriors tried, and I hate it, but in terms of how it did bosses, but it's like,
I hate it too.
Did make me think that they were.
Because it's waiting until you don't wait, and then you wait, and then you don't wait, and then you. There's like long periods. Like it's not like it's hard to dodge any of that stuff.
Wait, the first one or Age of Calamity?
First game.
First one. I haven't
First
played Age
game
of
is
Calamity.
like, let me hook shot this boss and pull him to the ground, and then do my like weak point break, and then they die.
I think those entire levels it's like a Zelda dungeon because you get like the new item. And it's like you use the new item to beat the boss, but it's like an entire level. It's just supposed to be like an entire Zelda dungeon.
Yes,
I think it's different for Age of Calamity because I guess Calamity is like he's tanky as shit.
I think in terms of like how they did it though, it's like okay, but yeah, those games generally don't work for it. The only game, not only game, my brain. The Warriors-like game that does it well is not by Koei. It is, there's two. There's 99 Nights 1 by Konami. Technically, they made the second game. And Sengoku Basara. Those are the games that actually can capture both aspects of gameplay without destroying the other. And those were not made by Koei. Koei just doesn't have a pulse when it comes to fighting bosses. They've never seemed to do it.
I mean, it's just kind of they're good at the hack and slash, but the boss in it, I guess.
So
yeah,
like...
the boss is usually just like, I am a super armored man who takes half damage, and you're like, okay, that's scary because I'm so used to not having that problem, and now I can't combo you, and you murdered me. Sick.
I think in like Hyrule Warriors, I think in like the last couple levels, it's like, oh, watch out for the fire, they will die. I did not care about that. It's supposed to matter, but it doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so. Those games, they do it unfortunately badly.
I think the cool thing about it was, oh yeah, you can play Ganondorf.
Oh yeah, no, those are cool.
Aren't I playing as Ganondorf right now, essentially?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we play Smash, you're literally just playing as Ganondorf now.
But instead of using like dark demon things, you're using giant machine thingies, and instead of being like darkness, you're like light.
Well, now I'm not edgy, so that's a plus in my book.
There you go.
Well said.
Yeah,
I'm not in my emo face anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I would love another Sengoku Basara. I think Sengoku Basara is just a god tier franchise. It's just extremely rarely comes out.
I was able to find so for a while I wasn't able to get a a allegedly legal copy of that. I finally found one.
Allegedly.
Heck yeah.
So time ends when I kill this guy.
In the final stage, I think it ends when the mission complete probably pops up. But
Wow, that was,
so
that was loud as hell.
Just to be safe.
just do it. Yeah, do it
Yeah.
at mission complete to be safe, and then you can retime worst case.
Yeah.
Defeated Carl in stage 18.
When you become mod, can you just put like a space between the N and the S over there? Because they fucked it up.
Sure.
You'll have to redo the rules anyway. Yeah.
So what I was going to say about 2FM is that that game is built around the boss combat, and the non-boss combat is just like a simplified version of that. It exists like,
Yes.
which is like not how Warriors games typically work. I feel like they start with the regular combat and then are like, we're going to give just more abilities to the. Specifically, talking in terms of Dynasty Warriors, because again, that's the ones that I played the most.
I don't think I've played one of those yet.
I think
The only-
Kind of want to. I've been told it's like the first ones, so like the original ones of Hack and Slash genre itself. I don't know if that's true, but I guess they're like the main ones.
The only games that attempted to fix that were way later. Like, they attempted to fix some of the, like, I don't know, to make it more boss fighty like in Dynasty Warriors like 9 or whatever, but that game was met with terrible response.
is it
So,
actually as bad as people make it out to be?
a little bit. It just depends.
Ooh.
Because the problem is you're shipping it out to people who are fans of a certain series.
Oh yeah.
And then you're
yeah.
like, what if we change everything? It's like, you could do that, but it's admittedly very dangerous. Like, people didn't want an open world game. So when you were like, oh, we made an open world Dynasty, it's like, no. That's not on the pulse at all. None of us want that, because that's the opposite of what makes a good Warriors game to most people.
It just